Welcome everybody to our first banishment. We have the Lala team here first. Lala team, we do have the red team, which are now being called TBD. They are here watching your banishment tonight. They chose to watch your team, so letting you know that they are here. The big green team is stuck in the waiting room. They will not be able to see what goes down in this banishment at all. Aaron, I hope you're coming back. That made me a little bit nervous. You guys all know the flow of things. I'm going to ask some questions. We're going to talk for a little bit. And then when it comes time, you're going to Slack me directly with who you'd like to vote for. Okay, so to begin with, Sophie, I've got to start with you. You're from season 1. I think season 1 was like 9 months ago. How does it feel being back in the swing of things again?
Well, it feels like it was actually 5 years ago at the start of when this all happened. But it feels really good. I mean, our season was so different. We were like the guinea pigs. We knew everybody. And it was just kind of, a weird dynamic. And like here, I don't know anybody. And I get to like meet all these new people. And they've all like played these different seasons that have evolved. So it's actually really exciting. And I'm glad I'm like getting another go now that it's kind of become what it really is.
Do you feel scared at all that you are the sole season 1 player on this team? Or do you feel that that kind of puts you into a good position because we've got a mix of season 3, season 4 folks?
Totally. I mean, it definitely was a little bit that there are people who knew each other on both sides, and everyone kind of had an ally, from a previous season. But on the other hand, I come in with like no preconceived notions about anybody, and I kind of get to like start this fresh and develop things without any history. So I kind of like that it's just all new and open for me.
Sure. So Tommy, you're coming in having just won the last season. Are you nervous that that puts a target on your back immediately? Did you feel relieved to see that Erin, who also won her season, on the same team with you, kind of 2 former winners on the team? How are you feeling about it?
I think the only thing better could have been if all 4 of us were on the same team. It does feel good to have Erin on here, but I mean, because I have just won, it's just every other reason to keep me in this game longer because people are looking like at me, you know what I mean? And so hopefully that means something, I guess.
Okay. Gray, are you hearing what Tommy's saying as kind of a pitch of like, hey, I'm a great, easy target to keep around, easy to convince people to vote me off later?
I mean, I do feel like since we're the only team that has 2 winners, it's like interesting how that panned out. And so that is a pitch for him, obviously. It is for both of the winners on our team that they've won before, and that they might, be a target going into however many banishments.
And Erin, how are you feeling about it? Do you feel that you have a target on your back having been a winner, or do you feel like, that was that season? There's only 2 other season 3 people on your team with you right now. So how are you feeling about it?
Yeah, well, I feel like it's scary. But I famously rode Jerry's coattails all the way to the final. And
is that the narrative we're going with?
That's the narrative we're going with.
Okay.
I rode that beautiful genius's coattails all the way to the finals. And then I just happened to get those last immunity win. No, it's just the truth. It's just the reality of it. Like I entered this game knowing that I came in as a winner. And I think a part of it is like, I'm excited to see how my game has to change. And I'm excited to see like what I can do with what I'm given,
So Deanna, you played with Erin, and Erin just told us that she rode Jerry's coattails. She was of the famous Jaren duo. Does that make you concerned that Erin's coming in looking for her new Jerry, kind of looking for her duo person to go to the end with?
I think that's a successful strategy because I would say that I did almost the same thing. I worked in a good duo. So I think that sometimes is the way to go. And I unfortunately don't have a J name, but we've got one to choose from on this team. So maybe there'll be a Jaren 2.0. Maybe we have a Darren. Who knows what will happen.
Okay. So Nicholas, you are someone who in your season, I hope you feel comfortable with me using this word, a little bit of chaos ensued when you came to banishments. Are you concerned at all that that is coming in with you to this new season? Are you treating it like, okay, let's start over fresh. You don't know me. That's what I did that season. Are you concerned about like what people saw previously?
Yeah, I'm definitely concerned with it. I mean, I personally am coming into this game. It's a fresh game. You know, it's opportunity for like new alliances, a new way of playing. I didn't win, so clearly I do need to play differently. Like that's just logical. And I just know that that perception is still going to follow me no matter what. There are people in this game, whether they're on this team or the other teams, who are thinking, what's Nicholas gonna do? I don't know. But you know, I don't really want to play the same way because
Okay.
it's not as exciting.
Okay, so Joey, how do you figure out, okay, there's two things. The first being, this is the first banishment, and you never really want to be that first person throwing out a name, but if you don't make a plan, then what is going to happen and craziness will ensue. So how do you balance that? Because everyone here has played before. We all know what has to happen.
I think we all kind of used, like a bunch of people today used the same phrase about like it being a game of chicken. And I just realized now that it's probably like the betting game, right? It's like the idea is like that you're trying to get the other person to not to be the first, right? Not to be the first one to like throw out a name because everyone's so nervous. But at the same time, right? If you're not the one who's throwing out a name, it could be your name that's thrown around there, and the people are building alliances. So that was definitely, I think, the theme for today. It was very odd because I think no one wanted to do anything. It was a very weird feeling today.
So Tommy, your team, you guys went to the tiebreaker. So that implies to me you do have a strong team. This first challenge, you almost won it. So how do you decide who to cut from this team when you want to retain a strong team going into these early challenges?
I don't know. At this point, it's not necessarily who I want to go home. It's I want to stay in the game. You know what I mean?
Okay, so you're playing from a place of I want to stay in the game as opposed to who I want to leave.
I don't think I'm in a position where I can be like, okay, you can go home. You know what I mean?
Okay. So Gray, are you at all factoring in like, okay, this is what season so-and-so played with, there are X amount of other seasoned players out there, and kind of doing that mental math? Or do you think it's really not going to matter once there is a swap or a merge because people are forming these new relationships?
I mean, honestly, I kind of went into the season with like zero expectations and kind of hoping for a clean slate. And especially because I didn't get to play with a lot of people in my season, I feel like seasons, especially during like an all-star season, doesn't carry as much weight as say in a normal season when there's like two original teams and then they all get swapped up. And because we're pulling from so many different seasons at this point that you can't, keep up with that forever.
Sure. So, okay, Deanna, it's great that everyone's played before, so they kind of have a taste of it. They understand the experience. That can also be really challenging, right? Because pitfalls, or you might fall back into them again. How do you navigate playing the second time and kind of removing your emotions from the gameplay? Because it can be so easy to be like, oh, well, I don't like this person, or I don't like that I heard this. I'm going to make a vote based off that, rather than like, what are the numbers? What makes the most sense logically?
It's definitely very hard because we're all assuming certain things about each other, but then we all don't want anyone to assume anything about us, and we want to enter with a blank slate. So it's kind of like I don't know how to explain it, but it's hard to separate that like from you, like however they played before, from what you expect them to do now.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely something that I didn't expect to be this hard. It's also definitely harder to, I don't know, just like put yourself in the shoes of someone. I don't even know what I'm saying. Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
That's okay. Joey, I think kind of what I talked about with Nicholas and with Deanna is like the previous season and what people expect or know of you, which in a way you can use to your advantage, right? Like someone could be like, hey, you saw my season. I was loyal to so-and-so up until the end. Like I did it. There's my proof. Are you hearing any of that when having these conversations and making these decisions?
Yeah, I think it's a mix, right? Because like what Nicholas said earlier was like, if you didn't win, you might be playing differently. So if you were someone who did that, so it's like we can't necessarily be like the way that they played the last time is the way they're playing this time, because if people are essentially trying to win, they might be doing things a little bit differently. And the same times, like, right, people that did win, they also try and do things differently because people saw the way that they played and was a successful winning strategy. So it has to be a little bit different if they're trying to do it again. So yes and no.
Okay. So Sophie, one of the things that works to your advantage is the season 1 is the lost season. No one really can know for sure how you played. You really can, if you wanted to make it all your own from your narrative or, whatever, no one's able to really have anything with that. Did you come into this team and find people asking like, what happened on your season? What are the relationships and dynamics between these people on this season?
A little bit. I think people were, asking some questions and trying to figure out and put together the pieces of like what this crazy first crew bunch was. But I think it works in both ways. I mean, I am a huge fan and, continue to watch some of the seasons, but like, some later seasons I was like working and didn't get to watch a lot. So I think it's been an exchange of information and you don't really know unless you're in the game. So even if you watch it, you don't get a sense of that true dynamic. So I think it's more about like, hey, I can tell you how it really was and you tell me how yours was, and watching it isn't going to change that much.
So Erin, I have to ask, does anything feel different the second time around? Is the paranoia the same? Is how does it feel doing it a second time?
Well, I haven't eaten a single thing today. And I tried to put a spoonful of cereal in my mouth before this and I gagged,
Oh, no.
literally, just because I'm just I'm sick. My brother was like, you won. Why are you so stressed out? You did it. Like you can let this go and have fun. And I was like, it's not that I even need another win. It's just that this game takes a toll on you. And like as a fan of the show Survivor, you love it so much, and the chance to play is like, few and far between. So like you want to seize the day and like make the most of it. So I feel like that's like the thing that's most on my mind is just like trying to make the most of the time we have here, because it's damn fun.
Nicholas, I saw you nodding. Are you also feeling like, the second time around, woo, right back in it, kind of crazy all over again?
Yeah, I don't like, raise your hand if you were like almost gonna throw up today, because I truly also almost threw up. Like, yeah. I think it's hard because we are all returning and we all obviously really care. And it's not just like we want to stay in, you also have to vote for somebody who also wants to stay in, like really badly. I mean, and that sucks. It's not a fun thing to do. I don't think any of us today, when we did chat, were like, who are you going to vote for? Here's a solid name. It was like, can we work together and maybe figure something out later? And, we'll see how that plays out.
Sure. Great. Does it feel more challenging to vote someone out of the game, considering it is All-Stars? Everyone's been here. They're playing again because they enjoyed or think they enjoyed their first time playing. Does it feel harder than when you came in with the kind of a group of strangers and could be like, okay, objectively, we have to get rid of someone. Let's get rid of this person.
I think so. And especially because like we all, have talked after our seasons. And so it was so weird being on Slack today and kind of almost being in the mindset of like, oh, we're just here for fun and to talk about our days and to talk about what we like. And then kind of realize like, oh, we're working towards a banishment tonight very quickly. And we have to figure out what we're going to do.
Not easy. And with that, it is time to vote. So when I say your name, you will Slack me directly with who you'd like to vote for. We're going to begin with Sophie.
Wait, did you say me? Sorry, you cut out. Okay.
Yes, you, Sophie.
Me. Okay.
Nicholas. Deanna. Gray. Aaron. Joey. And Tommy. Okay, before I read the votes, does anyone have a hidden immunity idol that they would like to play? If so, now would be the time. Okay, I'm going to ask you all to pull out your phone lights, turn your phone light on. Once I read the names, the decision is final, and the player voted out will be asked to leave. Their quarantine will be up. Okay. First vote, Tommy. That's 1 for Tommy. Second vote, Tommy. That's 2 for Tommy. Third vote, Tommy. That's 3 for Tommy. Fourth vote, Nicholas. 3 for Tommy, 1 for Nicholas. Next vote, Nicholas. 3 for Tommy, 2 for Nicholas. Our first person voted off of Quarantine Island is Tommy. Tommy, I'm so sorry, your quarantine is up. Do you have anything you'd like to say before you go?
Dang it. That's it.
Okay. Tommy, thanks for joining us. Okay, and he's
No,
here.
it's good.
On. Thank you so much for joining All Stars. We've loved having you. Yeah, your quarantine's up, but is it fully up? We'll find out. Okay, I'm gonna kick off all of you people and the red people, and we're gonna bring in the green team. Marissa, will you help me with doing this? Because I think I have to remove. Great, removing that person. Removing that person. Removing, guys, just hang in while we do this. I'll turn the chat back on while I slowly work my way through kicking people out of this. Let's see. Bye-bye, Jerry. Let's see, who else do I have to kick out of here? Bye-bye, Nicholas. Bye-bye, Ryan. Bye-bye, Shannon. Let's see. I think I might have gotten everyone. Marissa, are we good? Anyone? Oh, Aaron, I have to kick you out. Thank you. You're doing the honorable thing by telling me. I appreciate it. Okay. Aaron is gone by. Okay, I think any other yellow or red people in here, please just tell me. Just make my life easier. Okay, great. I'm going to let in the green team. Hi, Big Green.
Ben,
Ben, did you have to have your shirt off?
it's a requirement.
I didn't have to, but it was a choice, Kelsey, a choice that I am proud of.
Okay, great. I support you. Okay, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, great. We're good to go. All of you, except for Vic, have done this before. So
I forgot I haven't done this before.
you haven't, technically, you've not done this before. So welcome to your first banishment of season 5. How this will work is I'm going to ask some questions. We're going to talk for a bit, and then it will come time to vote. And when it's time to vote, you will Slack me directly with who you'd like to vote for. The red team did watch the yellow team's banishment, so no one will be here watching your banishment tonight. So to begin with, Vic, I'm going to begin with you. How does it feel to be at your first banishment?
Good.
It feels good. Okay, great.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm happy about it. Now that I think about it. And listen, Kelsey, thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you for putting this on. What a treat. I feel sick. I do feel physically ill at the moment. How is that going to play out for me? I'm not really sure. Will that work in my favor? Will I throw up on my computer? I don't know yet.
Time will only tell.
Yeah.
So Molly, I'm going to go to you because you were actually our first contestant voted out of season 4 because Vic's team didn't end up going to banishment. How does it feel being back here, at banishment once again with a full team? Someone's got to go.
Oh, to echo what Vic said, so happy to be here. This is exciting, and this group of people is awesome. It feels good, and it feels really different than last time. Last time it felt like so much emotional pressure built up, and this time it just feels like we're here to have fun with a bunch of great people. So I'm super excited to be here at this first banishment.
So I actually want to follow up with you, Molly, because something that I think was very interesting in coming into a new season with all strangers, that first banishment, no one really wants to throw out the name, right? Like they don't want to be the first, they don't want to gameplay. However, we're in freaking all-stars. You have to play the game. Everyone knows you're playing the game. Are you finding it easier? I don't want to say easier, but like, is it different this time around knowing that we've all been here before, we all have to play, we all know we're going to play?
Yeah, I think maybe what was a lot more different than season 4, the first couple days, and then this is that I think everyone was like, cool, we're going to talk. We are having fun getting to know each other, but cool, we're going to talk game, right? So people weren't dancing around things. It was just really, really, really nice. But it does feel like this is the next level. It feels like I'm playing with some serious people that not only like went far in the game, but also have been like students of the game.
So Carter, I have to ask you, you won season 1. Are you feeling like there is a target on your back, or are you not? Because season 1 is not online, so people can't really know how any of the season 1 players played. It really is all within your control of what the narrative is.
Who's to say season 1 exists, really? Like, no, I mean, obviously I feel a target. I think you have that for being a winner. But looking at this cast, like, I truthfully could see anyone winning this season because it's such a stacked cast and everyone is bringing something different to the table. And I think we are all threats in our own way. So I'm just going to have to hope that my threat isn't the biggest threat tonight.
So Chris, I want to ask, yes, Carter was a winner, but there are 4 winners. And also you could conceivably be like, great, he's an obvious target. Let's keep him around as kind of a shield for me. Is the winner players being winners, is that factoring in for you with how you're making your decisions? Or is it like, yeah, you may have won, but this is a new season. We're all here together, clean slate.
Yeah, I mean, I think mostly it's like a new season, but you kind of like pull at any information that you know about anyone. Oh, they won. Oh, they made it this far. Oh, they did this. They used an idol then. Like, you just kind of have this bank of information. So I think that it's like in the air, but I would be lying to like, that's way too simple of a game for I think anyone that came in here to play, especially when we all like have played before, seen each other, watched each other, except season 1. Then yeah, I think that's just like too black and white to look at it. Not enough gray areas.
Okay, so Dad, you're still in space. Excuse me.
Yeah, I'll have to fix that. I'm supposed to land anytime soon.
Okay, great. So my question to you is, there are 4 of you that played in season 1, and it's not online, so people don't know what your dynamics were, right? For all we know, you 4 were the tightest 4, or for all we know, you were enemies and you all backstabbed each other. How do you deal with that of like, or how are you feeling when you found out hey, there are 3 other people from my same season on my team?
Yeah, I was a little mixed because I was hoping, the odds would be that we'd be, spread out amongst the 4 seasons on one hand. On the other hand, we do know each other. I do know a lot of the players from following the following 3 seasons. So it's not that it's not like playing with strangers, which is good. So I think you kind of start at a different level in terms of the gamesmanship. But I think it's, as you pointed out, on one hand, you got 4 people from season 1 and 3 people from season 4. So already there's sort of that dynamic.
Okay, interesting. So Ben, in these early days, it is very important to win the challenges, to protect your team, to make sure no one goes home.
So important that we did it, Kelsey.
That's what I'm going to say. Green did not do well yesterday. So how do you figure out, are you prioritizing, we gotta keep a strong team for whatever challenge comes next? Or is that just not even a factor because everyone kind of did about the same, not well, and who knows what's coming?
Well, if there's one thing that I've learned about Quarantine Island, it's that the impression of strong is really hard to pin down. There are so many different types of challenges across so many different buckets, right? It's very different from the TV show, which is almost as good as what we're doing now, where like either you can swim and run or you can solve enormous puzzles. Here it's a million different clever things. And I have a loose sense of what people's skills are, but who knows how could those fit into what could be coming down the pike. So yes, in theory, in philosophy, we want to keep the tribe strong, but I think it's nearly impossible to know what that actually means in Quarantine Island All-Stars.
So you did not wear a shirt tonight to make sure everyone knew that you have some muscle on your body in case that was useful for a later challenge.
One muscle.
I can only see from here up. I don't need to see any more. No, we're good. We're good. Okay, so Hilly, you're back. Season 1. We played so long ago, 9 months ago, and we also famously played a lot looser. There weren't Slack hours. There weren't clue windows. Things were a little different. How does it feel being in this season now? How different is it?
Well, back then, life was a lot slower. I'm not just in a spaceship along on this journey with your dad. I'm actually in my office. So I am back at work full time, and we're actually in a grind right now. So we're playing the game this time's a lot different because it's more of a balance, a work-life balance. I will say
even though I say that, I'm actually able to communicate more with people this time on Slack, but I also think that's because I figured out how to get Slack on my computer this time. I also
Oh,
appreciate I also appreciate the hours, the Slack hours. It's been a big help. But you know, the game is definitely different. The first time we played, no one really knew what to expect. We didn't know if people were talking on Slack. We just were kind of like showing up for challenges and going at the challenges. And slowly we all realized how competitive and serious we were. So it's really interesting to come into the game now when it's so built out and people come in hot with strategy and already have all these different ties. I definitely feel like an old school player if we're talking about the real game. And I feel I feel a little out of sorts. But you know, it's also very exciting to start fresh. And also know we started as, you know, an original kind of group, and seeing how this thing is built out is pretty fun.
So, Carter, I want to ask you, you know, Hilly brings up a really interesting point, which is that in season 1, it was really the beginning of quarantine, the lockdown. So a lot of people weren't working, or we had a lot of free time. And now by this point, season 5, people are back in their jobs, lives are picking back up. They're busier. So how do you kind of navigate the like how much people are communicating to you? Because season 1, it was like, okay, we're like all not working, we're just talking all the time. And now, like, you know that people have jobs, but also like they might have a job, but they're still slacking. And are they slacking me?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the most unique and paranoia inducing parts of this game is you never know when someone's slacking. And you really, I mean, I'll speak for myself. I can't think too much about it. Like if someone says they're away or says they're at work, then I'm just gonna have to trust them, because even if they're not, they don't want to talk to me. So I've been upfront with people and be like, hey, I have this work thing I got to buckle down and get done real quick, but I'll be back in a couple hours and whatnot. And it seems to be that people have done the same for me. I mean, maybe they were off talking about me, who knows, but we'll see.
We will see. So, Dad, are you interpreting people's silence as unwillingness to work with you? Or are you like, okay, they might be busy, they might be working, that sort of thing?
No, I think everybody's been pretty communicative. You know, it goes in waves. Certainly, like the minute or 5 minutes after 9 o'clock, you know, hey, good morning, what's going on? People reached out. And then I think as people did their work, it slowed down. And, you know, then all the YouTube videos came out and, you know, people were focused on that. So, you know, it's back and forth, but I think the communication's been pretty good. I'll say that it had its moments of intensity, but it also had its moments of quiet, which was good.
Have you ever been on YouTube so much in your life as you have today?
I think I had like 15 YouTube windows open on my browser, so it made it very difficult to check my stock.
Okay, great. So then, you know, I am curious, like wait, who is this person trying to enter the Zoom? Okay, sorry. I am curious, there's the 4 original season 1 people, which like, you could be like, hey guys, we have the numbers, we know each other, let's work together. However, it's been so long. It's been so long. People have watched other seasons, you formed other relationships with people. How do you know if you can trust your fellow like, are you feeling like you can trust your season 1 people the same amount as you can these new players on your team?
I feel like it's all a read, and it is very complex because, you know, you said earlier, how do you know what actually went down in season 1? Well, we've all talked about it. I was part of a group that voted Hilly out. Carter flipped on me with Keith, and they both voted me out. So there was no love lost in season 1. That all said, we were there to have fun, and I think we were there to try something new. And so, like, is there any bad blood? Not from me, and from talking to Keith, Carter, and Hilly, not from them either. And, you know, like Carter was saying, I trust them, right? It was a game, and we built relationships. For the new players, as far as I'm seeing, it's starting from scratch, which is exciting, and the same process is going in. Where are we all right now, not where we were 6 months ago. The old stuff doesn't matter. The perception doesn't matter.
Ben,
It's
I'm going to stop
what
you
am I
there.
getting
I'm
from
going to
you?
stop you there because you just said the old stuff doesn't matter, and yet you just laid a bunch of business on the street. So I have a hard time believing that you really feel the old stuff doesn't matter. Did you do that on purpose, laying the business on the street?
No, because we've actually all talked about it. You can ask, Molly, Chris, Vic. There were discussions about it. We talked internally about season 1 with some people about whether we would try to hide it or not. I'm the type of person that the more I try to hide things, the worse I do. I keep spinning in my head. So like that doesn't work for me. I want all the information to be out on the table. Maybe I just screwed myself over tonight with Hilly, Carter, and Keith, but I feel like just sort of all starting from square one can only benefit all of us.
Hilly, do you agree with Ben? Did everyone know what happened season 1?
Yeah, I agree with Ben. I think everyone knows. And I laugh because luckily no one can rewatch our season. But as we all remember, and as been noted, we didn't know what we were doing necessarily, but we had just as much passion behind the game we were playing. And Ben and I had a moment where I think people thought we really didn't like each other. And it was really fueled by me, but more so the nature and love of the game. So I just chuckle at that, but I think he's being honest. I mean, I've been honest. I was honest with Molly, Vic, and Chris that I barely played with Ben, Carter, and Keith. And I kind of feel like I'm, in a lucky spot of not really having any ties, and coming in really fresh because I didn't make the merge, I don't think, in my season, or at least I barely made it. So I really don't know much of their gameplay, aside from watching. And so it does feel like I'm kind of the new player, although I am an all-star from a previous season. So, and they know that, and we've all talked about that. So I think Ben's being honest and right in what he's saying, in that we've been upfront, and I don't think we feel we have much to hide, but I also feel like Vic, Molly, and Chris have been pretty honest with us so far as to what their seasons were like too. And so I think it's kind of nice to feel like we have a tribe that's really looking to build a strong team, and not keep secrets so far. And I mean, who knows? I could be totally misled, and we'll find out later tonight, but that's how it feels so far.
So, Chris, I want to ask you from season 4, you made it part ways in with all the teams, and your team, I would say Royals, right? That was your team. Got especially close. It felt during that season. And that can be more challenging once you start to know people and you add that emotional component in. Are you feeling like this first banishment for you is carrying similar weight, or, because everyone loves the game, everyone has played the game, they all want to be here. So it is hard to cut someone, but also you might not have the emotional closeness that you did when you were playing your season.
Yeah, I think what's different about this time is that we signed on last night, and then you're like, hey, we'll see you tomorrow at Banishment. So where in last time we went on this nice little run, and we, got to pump each other up, got to work together, had a nice strong team. So they just naturally started, towards those people. You don't have those moments of knowing you're going to Banishment and doing all of it. Ultimately, that was part of my demise. Because I don't think I was at the same level as other people in the game once I got where I was. So yeah, I think that's the main difference of it. The way that you bond with people here during all of this is by playing with them. And like Hilly had just said, a strong team tends to, I think, be a good sense of that.
Sure. So Vic, I want to ask, and I keep saying season 1, I'm going to bring them up again, but it is interesting. There are 4 people. So if one of them comes to you because they want to work with you, they want to go against a season 1 person, do you feel like you can trust them because they are so quick, willing to flip on people they used to know? Or is it just like, okay, we're all just trying to get through this banishment. I got to do what's best.
Yeah, I think at this point too, coming into it this early, it also is like you got to take what you can get. If we're spending the entire, especially coming so quickly into this banishment, if we're spending the entire time going well, do I have to think about what happened before? Are people talking? Am I not involved in that conversation? I think then you just don't do anything, and that's not an option. So you just kind of at a certain point have to like, take what you can get, and the people that like do have strong opinions on things are maybe the ones that you end up listening to a little bit more. Because I feel like today, for me at least, I got to know everybody really well. Not really well, but you know what I mean? Like I got to know about people's lives, which I think was really cool and wonderful and a nice thing to do. But also like, I don't know that I got like a ton of game strategy from people. So the few people that did come to me with game strategy are the people who I have in my ear right now when it comes to like who I'm going to vote for tonight.
Are you nervous about the people who did not come to you with game strategy?
No.
Okay.
I just think because like there's nothing I can do about it right now. You know what I mean? It's like, you talk to the people that you talk to, you didn't talk to the people that you didn't. We're here. We have to vote. So what's the point in being worried about them?
Do we have to? Yes, we do have to vote. I'm sorry, Molly, Vic does bring up something interesting, which is in All-Stars, people have all kind of played. In a way, it could be nice to just go along with whatever if someone does have a strong opinion, like I feel this, we should vote out that person. Are you afraid of that person who like, okay, they have strong stuff, strong feelings, they're convincing people, this could be a threat later on? How do you decide how big a role you want to play right now?
Yeah, I think kind of like learning from my experiences last season, in addition to being in the minority of this group, like I felt like I had to hear everything and take everything into consideration. And, I haven't really got into the game deeply. So people coming to me with ideas and feeling forceful, to me, that's fun. That's game. That's the meat and potatoes of this. So, I think all day I was just kind of all ears and excited to like dig into even the most intense ideas.
Okay. So with that, we're going to see how those intense ideas netted out. When I say your name, you will Slack me directly with who you'd like to vote for. We're going to begin with Hilly.
I don't see you on Slack.
You're okay. I'll send you a hello, and then you can just respond to that. Okay, gonna go to Molly. Ben. Carter. Chris. Vic. Dad. Unless you prefer me saying Keith, which I can do.
You can say Mr. Krasnogor.
I'm not going to say Mr. Krasnogor. That's ridiculous. I gave you the two options.
Neil Armstrong.
Okay, now before I read the votes, does anyone have a hidden immunity idol that they would like to play? If so, now would be the time. Okay, I'm going to ask you guys to pull out your phone lights. That represents your life in this game. Once I read.
Can I just say that I started that in season 1, and look how far it's come.
Look at Hilly, that was you, girl. You're an inspiration. You're a trendsetter. Once I read the names, the decision is final. The contestant with the most votes will be asked to leave, and their quarantine will be up. I'm going to begin with the first vote is for Vic. That's 1 for Vic. Second vote is Vic. That's 2 for Vic. Third vote is Carter. That's 2 for Vic, 1 for Carter. Fourth vote is Vic. That's 3 for Vic, 1 for Carter. Our second person leaving the island is Vic. Vic, I'm so sorry, your quarantine is up. Is there anything you'd like to say before leaving the island?
You're all snakes in the grass. And don't think I'll forget this, because I'm not going to forget this. And good luck getting me not to send in confessionals, because I'm just going to keep on sending in confessionals. You're not getting rid of me.
Vic, it's been a true pleasure. I will leave you with this. Your quarantine is up, but maybe just for now, we don't know. We'll see. Big Green, thanks for coming tonight. You guys can head out tomorrow. We will have a challenge at 5 p.m. Tune in to QI Reply tonight with Jake. Becca from season 1 will be on. Otherwise, check out our Instagram, our YouTube. Have a good night. Goodbye.